Good morning, friends. Welcome. My girls out back are laying eggs like crazy. I'm getting about a dozen a day. I can't eat that many eggs. I'm giving some to my kids and to neighbors and to friends, but they are on a roll right now. I have 15 laying hens, and boy, they're working overtime for me. So I want to freeze some, and it's so easy to do. You just find some kind of a pan. You can use a muffin tin. I am using my silicone little bread or pumpkin bar pan, and it's just so easy to use. You just mix 2 eggs together, whisk them really well, breaking up all of that yolk. Then you just pour it in the pan. You don't have to grease it or anything. So 2 eggs will fit in this slot. You can use a muffin pan, so you'll need to kind of test that to see if you need 2 eggs or 3 eggs. And then you just stick them in the freezer. And then the next day you pop them out, put them in a Ziploc bag, label them, and you can use these to scramble up. You can use them in recipes once they've thawed. That's a good way to save up some of these eggs. So I'm gonna get busy cracking this bunch that I had on my counter and get those in the freezer, and I'll show you what they look like after we've taken them out. Okay, it's the next day and the eggs have frozen nicely. I'm just putting on the Ziploc bag what this is and the date, and try to use these up in the next 3 to 4 months. But you can see the silicone pan worked great. These just pop right out. And then you can see they're a nice long length. That's 2 eggs. So if a recipe calls for 2 eggs, I would pull that out of the freezer and just let it thaw out. So it's very easy to freeze your eggs. I have done the lime preserving and those turned out great, but this is just a quick way that I can freeze them and then have them if I need them to scramble up for breakfast or in recipes. So I got 24 eggs put up in the freezer to store for future use. Another great way to use up these eggs is to pickle them. My dad said he loved pickled eggs, and I'd never done it before, so I said, well, let's give it a try, and it was so very easy. So pickled eggs are a great way to use up those extra eggs, and all you have to do is boil them. That's it, and they stay in your refrigerator. They're good for 3 months. But here are the things that I put in mine: some dill weed, some bay leaves, pickling spice, sugar, canning salt, apple cider vinegar, 2 cloves of garlic crushed in water. So the first thing you need to do is heat up 1 cup of apple cider vinegar with 1 cup of water, and then we're going to add in 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 teaspoon of canning salt. We're going to put that over on the stove after I've mixed it well and let it come to a boil, and then that will sit there and simmer while we get our eggs in the jars. Now for this recipe I boiled about a dozen eggs, but I really only needed 10 to fit in this wide mouth quart jar. So in the jar I'm adding 1 big tablespoon of pickling spice, and then I'm going to toss in my dill weed, and the 2 cloves of garlic will go in there, and then I'm just going to start dropping the peeled and rinsed boiled eggs into the jar. Now I did wash this jar in hot water so it's nice and clean, and I just toss the eggs in, and then we're going to take that hot vinegar water liquid mixture and pour right over top. And I just added that sprig of dill, so I'd have 1 at the bottom and 1 at the top. It's so easy. I can't wait to taste these. It's been a long time since I had pickled eggs, but my dad said they're really good, so I'm excited about this. And once I have a taste test, I'll let you know how much I like them, because I love pickles of all kinds. Then you just pour that hot vinegar broth right on top of your pickles and pickled eggs, and then you just put a lid on and you just let it cool, and then keep it in your refrigerator for about 3 months. Now the recipe states to wait at least 5 days so that the pickling brine really gets into the eggs. So wait about 5 days before you give them a taste. So that is just another simple way to use up some eggs. Last thing I want to share with you is this. I love to do is save those shells, and I rinse them out, put them on a cookie sheet, and then just put them in the oven and let them dry out, about a 200-degree oven, until they're nice and dried out. And then once I have a nice batch done, I will crush them and put them in the blender. Okay, now I just take a handful of the shells, a little bit at a time, and put them in my blender. That blender is over 40 years old. I got that as a wedding present back in 1982, but I strictly use it now for eggshells. Can you believe that that's almost 41 years old? But that was one of my wedding gifts, and it still works, so that was a good one. But again, I just pulse it on the highest setting until it's a powder. Then I just store this in a quart jar. Okay, once it's all nice and powdery, I'm just going to pour it in this quart jar, and you can see I've already been doing this before. I've got a nice jar full, and this is excellent fertilizer for the garden. And you ask, what in the world do you do with those crushed eggshells? This is pure calcium powder, and it is great for your tomatoes, your zucchini, your squash, your peppers. It prevents blossom end rot. So when you're planting your plants, when you dig your hole, put 1 heaping tablespoonful in the hole, add a little dirt, and then you can put your plant in, and you don't have to worry about blossom end rot. It's a free fertilizer for your plants. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please like, comment, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed day.